So, whatever seems like it's happening is already allowed because it's what's happening. And that includes all thoughts and feelings and desires and sense of angst or anxiety, depression, thoughts of I need to do this or that, I need to grow in these ways, there's something that I need to discover, whatever it is. It's just already allowed because it's what's happening. And I think the term acceptance can feel helpful up to a point, but it can kind of seem to perpetuate the sense of not being there yet, because okay, I need to be more accepting. That can become the new narrative that plays. I need to be more accepting. I'm not accepting enough. If I could just be more accepting, then I'd be okay with whatever's going on. But it's like, if there's a feeling of not okay with what's going on, that's also what's going on. And so there's nothing that needs to be done about any of it. And a response to do something or not do something happens on its own anyway. The thought, oh, my van's messy and I should really clean that, is a thought that happens on its own. And the movement to do it or not do it, even the sense of deciding, happens on its own. So no one's really doing any of it. Even the apparent sense of doing. It seems like a common human experience to, I don't know, have this sense that, whatever's going on is really an indicator that I'm personally unworthy. I'm not there yet. I haven't grown enough. I haven't worked hard enough. It's just this not enough tape that plays, it seems, If I'd really meditated enough, then I wouldn't be feeling uncomfortable right now, If I could really see things as they really are, then I wouldn't be there wouldn't be angst right now, If this if-then happens on its own too, and it's not an actual indicator of something real. It's just a tape that plays on its own, it seems. So I don't even really like the terminology of acceptance as much anymore, because that can just become another hamster wheel, it seems, There is no past, because there's nothing other than this moment. Truly, and there's not even moments. Because to say moment is just another word box, right? What is a moment? When does a moment start? When does a moment end? I could say there's only ever this moment, and then there's not even this moment because there are no other moments. But what might be called the past is really just a spontaneous memory occurrence that seems to happen right now. And there is no now because there's no not now. In the story of my past, when I first heard about acceptance, at first it felt really, really helpful to say, oh, okay, well, I should just accept what's going on. But then there was this non-acceptance of the non-acceptance, right? If there was a feeling of dread, anxiety, depression, then the thought might come, I don't want to feel this way anymore. There was a non-acceptance of that because it became, oh, well, if I could just be more accepting. See, I'm not accepting enough. So it went from this anxiety shouldn't be here to this non-acceptance of anxiety shouldn't be here. And then it's just the same thing again. But there's nothing to do with that. There's nothing, this isn't a prescription. This isn't, now here's what you go do, because that would assume that there's actually true control over thoughts and emotions. And it really feels like thoughts and feelings just happen on their own, Even apparent realizations of, I've been seeing it this way, but maybe that's not the truth, right? That's still a thought that happens on its own. Even, even the types of work that can feel like they're getting done in cognitive behavioral therapy, I think it's just, I'm not an expert, but I mean, one time a therapist told me that the brain is an organ that has the capacity of healing and repairing just like any other organ. Like if I get a paper cut, the skin heals and closes up if the immune system is running relatively well and all that. So even to have this deep existential sense of like, I need to work on having better thoughts or more effective thoughts, I think that can also be sort of a straitjacket in itself. And if it feels helpful, then that's great. And I'm not saying that that's wrong or claiming that anything that is being said here is the truth, because it really just doesn't seem like there is such a thing. But in the it just feels so apparent that thoughts and words and sensations happen spontaneously, and that includes already whatever growth, whatever sense of deepening of wisdom, whatever happens is already just spontaneous. So I kind of like the words like already allowed or involuntary allowance, because there's not anyone in charge of that. It's like there's a butterfly flying around outside. Oh, it's so beautiful. I don't think that the camera will be able to pick it up. I think it's too far away, but either way, damn, what a view. Oh, check out that butterfly. I hope you saw it. But a butterfly flying is just a butterfly flying, and there's no one who has to work on accepting that or not accepting that, If there's a butterfly flying, there's a butterfly flying. And if there's a feeling of like, fuck that butterfly, I hate butterflies, then that's also what's happening, and there's no one who has to accept or deny that because it's already what's showing up. So whatever is showing up, apparently, and to even say what's showing up is another just word description, because really it's only nowness. It's only here-ness, and there's not even any alternative to that. Any alternative is just an idea that's happening here and now. And there is no here or now. So, really, I could say nothing's happening at all. And somehow that includes all the apparent happening of the leaves rustling in the wind and the sound of the river. The feeling of a little bit of shoulder tension. Feeling of hunger. Feeling of thirst. So as soon as acceptance is a practice, I think it can just become another closed feedback loop where things are apparently measured against being accepting enough or not accepting enough. What does enough mean? What does enough actually mean? This life, whatever is apparently happening, is enoughness, because it's what's apparently happening. And so even the idea of an alternative to what's apparently happening is an idea that's apparently happening. So there's no next. There's no arriving, and that's not a conclusion to arrive at either. It's just obvious. It's just obvious. How could there be a next when the idea of next is just this life playing as the idea of something called next? How could there be an actual future when future is a story that's happening spontaneously right now? Sometimes this type of talking can be heard as, okay, well then now I have to personally arrive at the conclusion, at the understanding, at the awareness that I am complete, or that all there is completeness, or that I am enough as I am, or that life is enough, or that I have to arrive at the conclusion that all is already allowed, because then I'll really feel okay. But it's like, if the feeling is that this is not allowed, this is not it, then that's also what's happening. So I could say that the feeling in that case of this isn't allowed, that feeling itself is allowed because it's what's showing up. There's no one who can choose to deny or accept that. And if that's the sense that there is someone who's able to deny or accept that, that's also the sense that's arising spontaneously. And so that's already allowed too. So this isn't a suggestion of what to practice or where to get to. It's sort of the suggestion that there truly is nowhere to get to, and there's no one who could get there, because there is nowhere else, and there is no one behind the sensation. There is no one behind the thought. There is no one behind the emotion. The thought, the emotion, the sense of individuality or not, whatever is going on is as spontaneous and free-flowing an occurrence as the bird chirping, as the butt farting. you know, whatever. It's like this whole story of like, okay, how do I get back to the present, you know? A friend yesterday said, where are you coming back from? If you're going back to the where are you coming back from, truly? Because you never left. You know, I can sit here and think, I can sit there, you know, there can be thoughts going on about past, future, this, that, up, down, side to side, alternate dimensions, aliens, whatever, but like no one ever came or left. Those are just thoughts that are spontaneously arising here and now. And there's not even a here or a now, because there is only whatever's apparently happening. There's only this. And this isn't a something. This is qualityless, but it contains all apparent qualities. But there's not even containing, because that sounds like there's an inside and an outside. Thoughts about inside and outside are also just life happening. Thoughts about stepping outside of life to point back at it and describe it and figure it out are also life happening as those thoughts. I am life. You are life. You don't have a life. You are life. You are life happening. I don't have a life. I am life happening. And so even these terms, I, me, you, dissolve. This is all life happening. And it's not even happening because time is a story. Time is a story. Time is life happening as a story. And there's no happening because there's no time. This might be heard as like, wow, super psychedelic, dude. Whoa, crazy. But like, honestly, to me, it seems there is no type of conversation that feels more sobering. Dang, I forgot to put this on airplane mode and do not disturb. I bet it's gonna have weird electronic sounds. Oh well. Couple little beeps and boops. Oh, I can hear some beeps and boops from the, is that a garbage truck or a construction truck? I don't know. Dude, like, honestly, this view is nuts. This view is nuts, man. Holy cannoli, dude. This view's fucking nuts, man. Check it out. Oh no. The exposure. There we go. Who's gonna accept the trees? Who's gonna accept them? No one has to accept anything. If there's just trees, there's just trees. Who the fuck? It's the same shit with emotions and feelings and thoughts. You know, just whatever the fuck is going on, and there's no wall to that. You know, it's like, if I could just accept my non-acceptance, then no, like it but if that's the thought that's happening, then that's what's happening. So whatever, dude. Rock on, man. It's all good. Maybe we aren't so different from the bees and the birds and the squirrels and all of it. It can just seem like we are. The seemingly human experience of existential self-consciousness. But like, whether that feels like it's going on or not, it's still just life happening. It's still just nature unfolding as those thoughts and those sensations. So then nothing is actually any indication of personal lack. Because maybe there is no such thing as personal lack. If there's a sense of wanting to grow or work on certain skills or interrelational skills or whatever it is, it's not a dismissal. Because that's already allowed if it's what's happening, because it's what's happening. And nothing's constant. Constantly, whatever is happening is life unfolding in that shape or flavor. But even to describe myself feels weird because none of it's constant, you know? I could say all there is change, but then it also feels obvious that time is an illusion. So there's another paradox of language. Time has to be an illusion when in a felt sense, it feels so undeniable that there's no leaving the present moment, because even the sense of leaving is presently what's happening, if that's what's happening. So there's no leaving or returning to presence when presence is already all there is. Even the sense of I'm not present enough is presently the sense that's occurring, if that's what's occurring. Even the thought, once I get there, you know, once I become the best communicator I could possibly be, even though superlatives are bullshit, they don't exist. Once I become the best this or the best that, then I'll really this or that. It's like, yeah, that's an idea that's happening right the fuck now. And there is no now because there's no not now. So even now falls short. I don't fucking know. I really don't. And that's a fucking relief. How exhausting is it to just really like that belief that I really know, you know, I really know what the fuck's going on here. then it leads to feeling like the needing to defend, right? It's like, I really know what's going on here. I know how this shit works. I know who I am. I know the techniques and the strategies for fill in the blank, whatever. When that feels really true, it's sort of like all these bumper stickers that are carried around. And it's like, there's no space for discussing anything else because it's threatening, right? It's threatening. I think this is storytelling, and it isn't something I'll go into for too long here because I find it exhausting, but I think that's what happens with super strong polarization politically and stuff too. It's like, it's not that I'm defending the cause at hand as much as I'm defending the way my identity is attached to my belief in this cause, right? If you attempt to derail this belief that feels so dear, this belief that feels like part of the elevator pitch in the description of who I am, even though there's really no way to say who I am ever. I mean, there really isn't. Let's be honest, there isn't. Even to say, how are you doing? Within the asking of that question and the answering of it, there could be 1,000 emotions that could go by that we probably don't even have words for. And then there aren't even separate emotions because to call each emotion what it is just another thought painting. It's just another word picture. But I think that's what that can seem to be part of the experience of deep defensiveness around anything, is like, it's not that you're threatening this cause or this belief, it's that you're threatening who I take myself to be. An identity fends for itself so dearly. That's all it knows how to do. And no one's in control of that either. That's either going on or it isn't. And that's not even constant, you know? And for an apparent personality for whom identity seems very dear, and there's a lot of defensiveness around identity, this is a story I'm telling, but whatever, even for that particular person, even that sense of defensiveness or deeply believed identity probably comes and goes too. There's probably just looking at the river or making love or watching a movie, even for that apparent personality. And so that's why there is no ego to get rid of, because it's either a phenomenon that's happening or it isn't. And to call it even ego kind of makes it seem like this constant entity. And it's like, it's just thought forms, it's just energies and sensations that are either coming up or they're not. And even to say coming up implies a direction where there is none. What is somewhere else? What is somewhere else? It's only here and now as the idea of something called somewhere else. You can call that psychedelic if you want, but I think that's sobering as fuck. None of the descriptions are real. They're just descriptions. They're just perceptions of perceptions, you know? The eyes take in the light, and then those signals are interpreted by the brain. So even in like a physiological sense, there isn't the capability of seeing things as they really are, but you could say that is as things really are anyway. So there's nothing that has to get figured out. if there's a sense of figuring something out or inquiring into something, whatever, that's cool. That's what's going on. That's rad. Right on, you know? But there's no getting to the bottom of things, really. There are no separate things. Except in the naming of them. Words draw a line between sky and sea and call it the horizon. And then you go out into space and it's just a fucking tiny little blue and green planet. Where's the horizon, you know? And there really is no zooming out or zooming in because it's only this. It's only hearing. It's only... This is hearing. This is words. This is sitting on a chair. This is everything and nothing. This is the indescribable appearing as description. So there's no getting to a place of acceptance because that's just another story. And in a sense, that story seems to be in itself a denial of whatever's happening here and now. And there is only here and there is only now. And there is no here because there is no not here. And there is no now because there's no not now. It's just full-on fucking life happening. And it's not even happening because happening implies time where there is none. What was that? I don't know. Stretch. Can I turn it off with my foot? I think I can.